Radar Mission is a naval battle-themed strategy game released on the Nintendo Game Boy in 1990. You got a little more bang for your buck on this one as it actually held 2 game modes on one cartridge. The simplistic nature of the game felt right at home on the handheld, and it makes sense when you find out that the game was actually designed by Gunpei Yokoi, the creator of the Game Boy. Now, how does his game hold up to today's standards? Like most Game Boy games, you get right into the title screen. From here, you can choose between 2 game modes as well as if you want to play them solo or against a friend using the Game Boy's link cable. Game A is a turn-based strategy game that played out on a grid. Many will recognize that this is exactly like the board game Battleship. However, Radar Mission expands on the formula a bit. Just like Battleship, you and your opponent set up your fleet on a grid which consists of a 2-hit destroyer, a 3-hit submarine, a 3-hit cruiser, a 4-hit battleship, and a 5-hit aircraft carrier. You then take turns selecting squares on the grid to fire upon, resulting in a miss or a hit. When either side manages to sink all the opposing fleet, they win. But here's where Radar Mission takes it further. In Solo Game A, you're kind of playing a story of 3 rounds, where the first round is in open water, the second round is closing in on the enemy harbor, and the third round is attacking a key enemy land base from the water. Your surviving ships carry over from the prior round, plus the game will let you have a fresh aircraft carrier if the prior one got sunk. In round 1, the enemy had the same standard set of ships that you have, but in round 2, they get a 5-hit aircraft carrier and 3 3-hit cruisers, so you'll want to try and preserve as much of your ships as you possibly can. In round 3, the land targets are a 7-hit airfield and 3 2-hit tanks. Further adding to what Game A offers, before starting any game, you are given the opportunity to adjust quite a few settings. You can choose if you'll play on a grid of 8x8, 10x10, or 12x12. You can choose if either side will get an extra aircraft unit that launches around turn 15, but only if the aircraft carrier is still floating. You can also choose if either side will receive a warning if they get a near miss, which can really change up the strategy. There's also an option if either side will be allowed to get lucky shots. Whichever side has this option turned on, random squares will hold one of 2 types of enhanced shots for their next attack. The black lucky shot will let you instantly sink any ship you may hit on said next shot. Meanwhile, the white lucky shot gives you a 5-target star-shaped shot that will really let you cover some open water. And finally, you can choose the commanders for either side. You can choose between 2 for yourself, which I have yet to find out if there's any real difference between them, and you can choose between 3 commanders for your enemy. This is basically a disguised difficulty mode selector, the wimpy looking kid being the easiest, the elder commander being medium, and the buff and rugged commander gives you hard mode. Game A of Radar Mission is fun and familiar, but sometimes you just wonder if the game is messing with you when it hits one of your ships on the first shot. Yes, that did happen more times than I would like, but I guess I'm just unlucky like that. The amount of rule customization is actually impressive, especially from a Game Boy game from 1990. I know I mentioned the commanders being a secret difficulty setting, but with being able to turn on each helpful feature for each side individually can make the game even easier or harder if you so wish. Good replayability potential here, especially since the game can be really short, possibly 30 minutes to beat it. The pace of play can drag on a little though, as animations fully play out and are not skippable. You're basically waiting 3 times as long just to get to the next turn. And after all that, we're still not done. Radar Mission also has a Game B, which is a total departure from the main Game A. This one is an action naval battle where you pilot a submarine back and forth on the water field, trying to sink the enemy fleet before their own submarine sinks all of yours. This mode doesn't have as many options as Game A, but it still has some difficulties called Practice, Normal, and Hard. Before you launch, you do have the chance to upgrade parts of your sub with limited money though. These upgrades can carry over through each round, so long as you don't get hit by the enemy's sub and lose them during the game. You can upgrade the propellers to increase how fast you traverse the field, you can upgrade your torpedoes to shoot 2 at a time, and you can upgrade your sonar to give more information on enemy fleet movement. Controlling the submarine on the game field, you move left and right while firing torpedoes into the distance. You can also dive down to activate your sonar to see everyone's positions and sneak up on them. You can't attack from underwater though. It's also possible to win if you outright destroy the enemy sub, but the enemy can also win by sinking you. Game B was a nice departure from the slow pace of Game A, but I found it really difficult, even on practice mode. When you're moving back and forth, you better pray you hit your target right away, because chasing them down takes forever, even with the upgraded propellers. By the time you've tracked down your target, the enemy has already sunk 5 of your ships. Also, it seems like the pace at which the enemy is destroying your ships doesn't line up with where it's actually positioned on the field. It felt like the enemy's sub would destroy a ship half a field away, while I was closing in on only my 3rd target. Fun mode, but unfortunately flawed. Overall, taking both game modes into account, I have to give the gameplay of Radar Mission a 6 out of 10. Radar Mission's graphics aren't going to wow you, as they're pretty bare bones when looked at on their own. However, when all is put together, it really just shows everything it needs to. This kind of game doesn't really need anything flashy, but even then, they do have a few moments of flair to them. Watching the torpedoes shoot into the distance felt fun in Game B. The bigger near-miss splash animations in Game A felt like they were something special, and the explosion animations in both games are very satisfying. One less than stellar aspect of the graphics though would have to be the profile pictures of the commanders, as well as the little sailor sprites. They just miss the mark, feel squished, and are really hard to tell what the heck they're doing in their animations. Thankfully, they're just a small aspect visually of this game. The graphics of Radar Mission gets a 7 out of 10. The title theme music brings the exact sense of an upcoming epic naval battle, and the fade-in is actually a nice touch in an era where title music would just pop right in at you. During the bulk of Game A, you'll hear the same song over and over, but I gotta say, it never actually got tired or repetitive to me. In fact, part of it kind of gave me Final Fantasy Legend vibes, which, as we've established in a few retro reviews ago, it's free brownie points for me. I think another reason the main combat song didn't get tiring was due to the change-up in music when there's only one ship left on either side. When you have one ship left, a song of heart-racing anxiety plays to make you pray the enemy never finds your final boat. And when there's only one enemy ship remaining, a triumphant tune starts to ring in the impending victory. Meanwhile, in Game B, a song similar to Game A's anxiety tune plays throughout most of the game, which suits the action very accurately. It also has its own set of final ships music too. More anxiety with only 3 of your ships left, and more hope for when there's only 3 enemy ships left. As for the sound effects, both games have excellent use of the Game Boy sound card. They give the sense of what they're portraying accurately enough and right on the mark. I'll even point out the sound of the plane that takes off from the aircraft carrier in Game A. It surprisingly sounds real accurate with the high-pitched engine whine, but not uncomfortably so. The music and sound of Radar Mission gets an 8 out of 10. Yet another game I never actually owned, but played a lot while visiting a cousin. This was down in Miami, and we had a ton of downtime staying out of the scorching sun. We'd all pile into his bedroom, all of us having a Game Boy, and playing games from our combined stash of cartridges. This one really left a mark on me enough to add it to these retro reviews. It probably helped that it was similar to Battleship, and I was able to jump into it right away. The nostalgia hit gets a 6 out of 10. With board game-like video games, the simplicity can become a hindrance to them, but Radar Mission added a few extra features that helped bump it up in replayability. With Game A's multiple difficulty and feature options, there was access for all kinds of skill types. Game B's action-packed mode helped break up the monotony of Game A's pace. With a quick playtime for both games, Radar Mission is worth a quick go if you're looking to sink a few battleships.